So when you think about loaves and fishes, what do you think about? Like a grocery store? Or maybe like Jesus in that miracle? We're gonna think about that today on Now at Devotions from Trinity, Lutheran, and Cyrus in Mars. So I'm here at the grocery store and we're thinking about Jesus' miracle with the loaves and the fishes in the book of Matthew. We're in chapter 14. This big crowd of people, they've been following Jesus. And he gets bad news. The bad news is his cousin, John the Baptist, has been murdered. And worse than that, it's kind of a dumb murder. Like, it didn't need to happen. It was sort of just some silliness. And now his cousin's gone and dead, a good man. And Jesus needs to process, and he goes out and he takes some time. And so he goes out to a deserted place, and the crowd follows him again. And this time, when they says deserted place, the text in there is like the wilderness. So a lot of people's lives, I mean today, but for all of human history, have sort of, they center around access to food and water, right? They center around where you are, where you live, do you have food, shelter, water, clothing, those kind of things, right? And like, just like at a grocery store, our communities tend to be centered around those things too, right? So Jesus is out in the wilderness. Now, a couple things about language. The word that they use for wilderness here is the exact same word that's used in the Old Testament, in the Greek version at least, thinking about Exodus. And also, there's a number of phrases that are like literally copy-pasted from Exodus and dropped into this account, like the women and children, and some of the other phrases used here are very similar to the story of the Israelites and being led out of the desert. So keep that in mind. But Jesus goes out and he's mourning the loss of a loved one, and there's so many people, he has to go out in a boat. And then he comes back to shore, and it says he had compassion on them. And actually the word is spalako, which in Greek is the same word where we get spelunking, caves. Spalako means like bowels, guts, visceral. It was a visceral feeling for him that he had compassion. Now mind you, after this, he heals all the people who need healing here in the crowd. And then the disciples say to him, Jesus, these people got to go home. We got no food here, and we're out in the middle of the desert. It's not safe. They need to go. And he says, well, why don't you feed them? And they say, well, we got like 12 loaves of bread and some, like 5 fishes. And he says, yeah, it'll be fine. And he feeds them all, and it's this big miracle. Question I have for you is, what's the big miracle here? Is the big miracle the feeding of the people? Is the big miracle the disciples saying, okay, we will do what you say? Against all logic. Is the big miracle Jesus having compassion on ignorant people following him, who many are just following because they want to see a show, right? And then he has compassion and still heals them, even having just lost a beloved family member, which is the miracle. So along with the phrases we have from Exodus that are very much the same phrases about what happens in the story of Moses and the slaves being led out of Egypt, we also have words straight foreshadowing the Last Supper, right? So he broke the loaves and gave it to his disciples. We're thinking about, like these echoes are brought in very intentionally. So as you think about that text this week, I want to challenge you a little bit. Like, can you think about which miracle are we discussing? Can you think about how is Jesus out in the wilderness similar to leading people to freedom? Can you think about how is the miracle of healing that he offers, and also the forgiveness he brings, and also the compassion he has, linked into the echo of my body for you, my blood shed for you, right? These are all playing together here. Take a look at it, give it a read, see what you think. That's your thought this week from Now at Devotions at Trinity, Lutheran, and Cyrus, walking down the street by the grocery store. I'm Pastor Chris, signing off for now.